as excited as most of us are to be able to retire, unfortunately, it's super easy to start off on the wrong foot and make a mistake that we're going to regret later, right? We all have one life to live, and for most of us, this is the first time that we're retiring. But as a financial advisor for over 20 years, I've had the advantage of seeing many families transition to retirement. I've seen families do it successfully, and I've seen families make decisions that they looked back later and regretted. I don't want to see that happen to you. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the 5 most common mistakes that I see people make. And the first one, and which is super important, it's critical to have a plan. And yes, I'm biased because I'm a financial advisor, but if you don't have a plan, the odds are dramatically against you. You're either going to be spending too much money, or you're not going to be spending enough money in the years where you could have had, you had as much energy as you're ever going to have. Probably you're the youngest, certainly you're ever going to be, and you're probably the healthiest that you're going to be in retirement, right? If you're 60 years old, unfortunately, most of us at 60 have less than 1,000 weeks remaining of healthy, active time. So we want to get this right. And I think the way you get it right is not by experimenting and spending, but by having a plan and having somebody that's gone through these plans. Make sure you're thinking about the right thing, so that you're not forgetting about an expense that might be critical, or you're not, and I see this a lot, right? People are sacrificing unnecessarily, and I don't want to see that happen to you. So that's the first one. This is a big transition, so it's not just a financial plan, but it's also a plan for how you're going to spend your time. What's important to you, thinking through ahead of time. What are the things that, retirement means to you, and then making sure you jump in with both feet and you do that. So that's number 1, is the need to have a plan. Number 2 is, how are you going to stay connected? How are you going to have relationships? Because, we spend most of our waking hours at work right now, if you're not retired. And a lot of our acquaintances, a lot of our colleagues, a lot of our casual friends, we have through work. And when that's gone, when we lose that, how are we going to stay connected? How are we going to make new friends? It's really important. What are the relationships? How are you going to stay social? So just give that some thought ahead of time. Okay, so that's number 2. I want to encourage you to stay to the end, because number 5 is one that I think is critical. And then full disclosure, I'm going to give you a bonus here at the end. Okay, let's jump into number 3. Number 3 is thinking through healthcare. Not just the cost of healthcare, but who's going to help you. When you if you have to go to the hospital, if you have to have surgery, who's going to take you to the hospital at 5 in the morning? Yes, Uber's around, but it's really nice if you have a friendly face when you wake up after surgery, somebody that can be there for you, somebody that cares about you, somebody that you have a relationship with. So think about that, and just make sure you have those people in your life. And if you don't, do what you can. Start building those now. But there's healthcare from a relationship standpoint, and then of course there's healthcare from a cost standpoint and from an insurance standpoint. And if you're retiring before 65, you've got that gap, right? You've got the gap between when you have healthcare insurance and when you don't. There's several ways to bridge that gap. It's outside of this video, but give some thought to that, right? You can do COBRA. You can buy insurance on the exchange. You can buy insurance on the private sector. There's what's called health shares that you can think about doing. None of this is financial advice. I don't know your situation. I'm not a healthcare expert, but I just encourage you that should be something on your radar screen. That should be something that you look into, or hire a professional that can help you think about that. Okay, next. I think it's important, it seems like these days there's so many life coaches, and I use a business coach, and I have for years, and it's made a big difference in my life. And I think when you retire, whether it's a friend of yours that, maybe they're 5 years ahead of you in retirement, just to sit down and say, hey, would you be willing to be my coach? Most people would be honored by something like that. or hire somebody. It doesn't have to be crazy expensive to have a coach. And really, you just want somebody that's further ahead of you on the journey. Of course, fee-only financial advisors can act as that coach for you as well. But there's lots of different ways to get that coaching. But I think the reason I think it's important to have a coach is you might want to pivot, right? Yeah, we have these preconceived notions as to what retirement is going to be. And full disclosure, the people that I see struggle with retirement the most are usually the ones that are the most excited about retirement to begin with, right? They feel this is going to be like vacation. I don't have to set my alarm clock anymore. If I go to Key West to go fishing, I can stay as long as I want. And all that's true, but 24 hours a day can be a lot of time to fill. So like with any transition in life, there's pros and cons. And that first couple years when you're making that transition, it's a lot easier if you have a coach along the way. I don't know if you remember in college, but even when I was a college freshman, which was a while ago, believe me, they kind of had the big brother, big sister system where somebody that was a sophomore would kind of coach you on, how do you succeed as a freshman? And I think America would be well served if we had kind of the big brother, this big sister system for retirement as well. Or, hire a professional life coach or hire a professional fee-only financial advisor. But I want to encourage you to expect that you're going to want to pivot and give yourself the permission and the freedom to pivot. Okay, the next one, boy, our health is just so critical, right? And how you start retirement, those are the habits, those are the foundations that you're going to build your retirement off of. So I just encourage you right from the beginning to take care of your health. You have a lot more time once you retire. Spend that time. One of the things you should spend that time on, and none of this is advice for you, but I think this applies to all of us, is keep your health up. So spend some of that time on shopping for healthier foods, cooking more often healthy foods, taking the time to go to the gym, visiting with your doctor and finding out, hey, what can I do to stay in as good a health as I can for as long as I can. So just invest in that. I think it's going to pay off in spades. Okay, and the last one now for the bonus here. Before I get there, if you've enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit the like button. Okay, the last one is, it's oftentimes retirees will say, well, now I have a lot of time so I can mow my own lawn myself, I can clean my house. You know what, if you can afford it, don't think of all the free time that you have, but think about how much time you have remaining. And as I said earlier, the average person in retirement, unfortunately, sorry, motorcycle going by, unfortunately, most of us have less than 1,000 weeks remaining. That's not a lot of time, so don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Don't be afraid to have somebody do the chores that you don't enjoy doing so you can spend your time doing what you've worked so hard for, and you can enjoy as much of the time as you can. I hope you can also enjoy this video up here that talks about average income for retirees in America, and this video down here that talks about 5 reasons to think about retiring as soon as you can. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.